Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen Scarlet, Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a Royale review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 12, I believe this is. It is called Trust Planning, in parentheses, Issues. I don't know about the name of this episode. I know maybe it's supposed to be referring to Sanya and her party and her trip and all that good stuff. But so yeah, whatever. We're going to go ahead and get into without further ado. So we start out over in Candy's house, and she is putting together a birthday party for her son, Ace. And child, his cake was looking very decadent and delectable, and I wanted me a piece. But so yeah, it is Ace's birthday, and Drew is coming through, Kenya is coming through, and it's some more folks, little friends of Ace's and such, that are coming through. And Ace seems to be genuinely surprised and genuinely enthusiastic about the festivities that have been put together for his sake. And I ain't gonna lie, I want me one of these just off GP. The gaming truck that Candy got for Ace's party. Child, I want that. I want that just to have, okay? And I need all of the Grand Theft Autos to be installed in all of the systems possible. I need all of the Mario games. I need all of the Donkey Kong games, okay? I need some stuff that I ain't never heard of. I need some stuff that I ain't never played. I would love to try out, what's the name? Cuphead. That's the name of that game. I got into the series. Anywho, I'm getting on a tangent, but I got into the series. Cuphead is very nice, and I would love to play the game. I would love a gaming truck also, y'all. I love video games. So definitely be on the lookout for me to start doing some video game commentaries and things of that nature too, because I love video games. Anywho, so yeah. We catch the flash over to Larchive with Marlo and Sheree, and Sanya ends up showing up in the midst. So they're going through looking at different pieces and everything of the such, and Marlo once again is being exploitative and a bit embarrassing to her nephews. She starts off talking about how her sister has told her that it seemed like her nephews are missing her, and that one of them, I believe she said it was William. I was gonna call him Wisdom, but I believe she said that his name is the one that's named William, and that he hasn't been bathing regularly and all this, that, and the third. I really don't even want to repeat what she said. Like, I didn't even feel right just repeating that bit of what she said about, you know, what the young man is going through. Because what do they do that's good, Marlo? What type of sunshine have they brought to your life? What do you like about them? Because you sure have spent a lot of time exposing their flaws and their shortcomings and mishaps on this show. And I feel like that's the part that would end up doing more damage than you telling them to get the fuck out. But without jumping ahead, I just hope that that session you had with the Christian psychiatrist, parent coach guy, I hope that that is able to smooth out some of the bumps in the road that have inevitably been there, and also the ones that you created for yourself and your nephews. But anywho, moving on to Sanya arriving. Oh, let me also point out, girl, Marlo gets to talking about how her sister is not instilling discipline, and that was the purpose of them being over there, because she was like, well, you know, why is she letting him sit up and play video games and all this other stuff? And I'm like, girl, you sent her over there with somebody who has 4 other boys to look after, and it's also I believe she's a nurse. if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that her sister is a nurse. And you seem to have no consideration for that. Like, what is her, like, what is she supposed to do? Like, how is she supposed to keep up with the dealings of 6 whole boys 24/7? Like, come on now. And work her nursing job. That is a strenuous job alone, with 4 kids alone, and you send her 2 more. Get up out of here, Marlo. But yeah, back to Sanya. So Sanya gets to talking about, you know, how she's excited for the trip and she want to set some things in stone and make sure that certain things are clear. So she's going to put together a pre-game party type situation to let everybody know what it is and what it's going to be. So she was telling Marlo and Sheree that while she wants it to be a couple's trip, she wants everybody to understand that it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic coupling situation. It's just a matter of you can bring a +1. So it can be a friend, it can be a colleague of some sort, whatever, what have you, as long as you just have like an extra person so that you don't feel like an odd man out. Or if we're doing things that involve 2 people or that requires 2 people, you have somebody to partner with or whatever. So she, you know, tells that to them, and she's gonna call Kenya to make sure that she is on game about everything. Now, I've been seeing a lot of back and forth about this particular situation, and I ain't gonna lie, I had to watch this scene and this episode multiple times to really come to a conclusion. And I feel like Kenya overreacted, and Kenya is taking her feelings from Blue Ridge and her feelings about Sanya having stuck up for Marlo, and she is projecting it and passive aggressively responding to it through other minuscule situations with Sanya, and I feel like this is one of them. So Sanya calls Kenya to let her know that basically you can bring any type of +1. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. But before they can even get there, so I'm going to go straight down to it, right? Because I wrote it down. So Sanya calls her. Kenya says, yeah, I'm here with my girls. She's talking about Candy and Drew as if we don't know who she's talking about. But anywho, so she says she's there with her girls and whatnot. And, you know, Sanya lets her know. So, you know, I'm putting together like a pregame type situation. And I just want to reiterate how I said that it is going to be, she didn't say reiterate, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but she was basically telling Kenya, you know, I said it's a couple's trip. And in the midst of Sanya talking, Kenya chimed in and was like, a couple's trip? I didn't know you said it was a couple's trip. And this kind of got on my nerves because Kenya, do you be listening? Like, and y'all know, if you know, like if you've been paying attention throughout the moments where I've been reviewing the show, I like Kenya. So I'm not just talking out my ass. So Kenya, the last time, I believe it was for Candy's trip, and when I watch reviews on previous seasons, I've seen certain moments where whoever is throwing the trip will say something specific, like it's this type of trip, or you can do this on the trip, or you can bring this and that person on the trip. And by the time the trip comes or whatever, that person says it again, Kenya is acting like she didn't hear them say that, or she didn't know, and all this other shit. Like I said with Candy's New York trip, if I'm not mistaken, Candy said that bringing a +1 was optional, and Kenya act like she didn't hear Candy say that. And now once again, you acting like you didn't hear Sanya say that it was a couple's trip. She said that multiple times when she announced the trip. So after Kenya says on the phone, oh, a couple's trip, I didn't know it was a couple's trip, Sanya then says, okay, well, I'm making it clear to everybody so we know that it is a couple's trip. And once again, before Sanya can finish her statement, Kenya hangs up in her face, which I feel like was totally unnecessary, was very childish, and was a complete overreaction. And honestly, says that Kenya does have insecurity concerning not having a man and, you know, everything that she's going through with Mark. And I feel like she has every right and reason to, you know, have whatever insecurity or feelings that she has behind that, but she does not have a right to project it on every single situation, because you didn't do all of that with Marlo. Okay, like, yeah, you done went back and forth with Marlo, you exchanged your words and this and that, but it also took you a minute to get there. So now don't take the build up with Marlo and the build up with Mark and then throw that on Sonya. Address what the issue is with Sonya. If you mad about the fact that she was sticking up for Marlo, then address that. But you don't want to give anybody the satisfaction of feeling like, or thinking, or seeing, or knowing that you are bothered, like genuinely bothered in any type of way by Marlo, about Marlo, or anything like that. And I can also understand that as well, but Sonya didn't deserve all of that. And if you want people to stop making it a big deal about a man, and all of that, and having that to throw in your face, you have to first stop doing that to yourself. In which I feel like in that moment, Kenya did that to herself. And it really just shown, like I said, it really just shown that you kind of reliant, you more reliant on validation and gratification from a man than you are willing to admit and let on. And to be honest, that's something that you have to admit and acknowledge in order to get past it. And honestly, I just feel like this particular generation of women in general, and I'm not saying all women in Kenya's age group, or the age group of women that are on these Housewives shows. I'm not saying all women, but a lot of women in their age range have a really poor attachment and relation type style to men. This reliance on validation and gratification from a man. This not, and I find it interesting because Kenya was on Waiting to Exhale, and I was watching a review on Waiting to Exhale the other day, and they were pinpointing all of the instances, how, where, and why, you know, those women characters on that movie did not have a sense of identity outside of their relationships with men. And I feel like that's like a sore spot that came up here, and it's a sore spot that comes up often, particularly on these Housewives shows. And I just find that to be very interesting and also very unfortunate, because literally none of these women really have no reason to feel so insecure. Like, they do because of how society is, but when you really take a moment to acknowledge who they are and what they have built for themselves outside of men, it's like, why? Like, why is that not enough? Why are you not able to give yourself enough gratitude and big yourself up on that, and not be so pressed and salty over a man, or about what somebody got to say about you not having a man and all of this? Like, it was just very stupid, and Kenya just really made that more than what it has to be. And I know a lot of people don't like Sonya, but I'm sorry, Kenya was wrong in this situation. Sorry, not sorry, because that's how I see it, and like I said, I synced it multiple times. So we wrap up that scene, everything, and Sonya says that she's going to address the situation when she gets a chance, because she don't appreciate Kenya going click off in her face like that, and I would not appreciate it either. But anywho, they move on back to Kenzie and the gang at her place. So Kenya makes mention to Kenzie about thoughts of a colored man, and asking her like how that's going, and the haps on the craps and everything concerning that and whatnot. And Kenzie gets to explaining to her that the show got shut down due to panini complications, and she's like really broke up about it. And honestly, I can understand. And I'm more than sure that, you know, she's gonna get back on her feet in that particular area and sector of things, and that she would be able to, you know, continue to make and extend opportunities to the people that she was working with and even more people as well. But like I said, I can totally understand why she feels like that, because you put your all into something and you invest so much mind, body, and soul into something. You want a sufficient return on your investment. And for something like the panini and the panini complications to come in and kind of, not even kind of, but you know, come in and wreak havoc on that, and it's something totally beyond your control, really fuck with you. So yeah, I felt like, you know, really sentimental and sympathetic for Kenzie in that moment. It was like really, you know, it's just really fucked up. But like I said, I feel like she's going to get back on her feet with that, especially concerning the reading that I did on her. And if you haven't seen that reading, please go down my channel and indulge in such oracle messages concerning Kenzie and how viewers synchronize with her. Anywho, Date also talks about the break-in situation and getting like an update from Candy on that. And Kenya suggested to her 24-hour security and how they got that in her neighborhood and all that good stuff. So yeah, moving on. So they flashback over to Marlo, Sanya, and Sheree. And I ain't gonna spend too much time on this. I just wanted to tell Marlo, Sanya, and Sheree to shut up as it concerns them talking about Kenya came in and ruined the trip and it shouldn't have had to be all that and all this other type of stuff. Marlo ruined her own trip. Fuck all that. Moving on. And I know I said Marlo, Sheree, and Sanya's scene had already wrapped up, but I got my notes a little mixed up. Also because they was doing a lot of backing and forth and with the editing and the flashing and backing and all that good stuff. So yeah, but now the scene really, child, the scene wrapped up. When I said it wrapped up, but it wrapped up with Marlo saying, just kill Kenya with kindness like I do. And everybody bust out laughing because clearly that is bull of the shat. So we genuinely and officially wrap up that scene. And we get over to Marlo and the Christian psychiatrist / parental coach. And they get to talking and praying and commiserating over Marlo and child, her foolishness. And I refer to it as foolishness honestly because I'm not going to take Marlo entirely serious until I see that she is putting the same effort towards getting the boys help. And at the end of her session, she did ask, could she bring the boys? But I want her to put as much effort behind showing us some of and more of their good qualities and redeeming qualities to make up for how she introduced them to the world in the opposite form, you know? Anywho, so I did not take down what the nice man's name was, but as I said, he is a Christian psychiatrist and a parental coach. And you know, Marlo gives him the rundown on everything after they pray. Marlo gives him the rundown. She immediately starts to cry, and it genuinely does seem like she is overwhelmed with a magnitude of emotion. And as she speaks, you know, she talks about kind of, you know, repeating the same thing that she's taught the other girls. But it stands out to me that it seems as though Marlo is very concerned with their outcome, whatever it is being her fault, or whatever it is happening with them being her fault. And I feel like that's totally understandable. What I want to point out about that is, though, I don't think that she realizes, and I think it's very easy to kind of get distracted from it, that she's making it about herself and she's making it about her own feelings and how she wants it to turn out and how she's going to feel if the outcome is not exactly as she wanted it, and how she's going to feel about that being, her responsibility and her accountability and her fault, essentially. And like I said, it's very understandable. It is just a consistency in Marlo being overtly and excessively self-centered and selfish and having a very hard time putting her own emotions and feelings to the side. And being the fact that, she does come from a rough childhood where she was neglected and very likely abused and things of that nature, I can see it very well putting her in a survival mode and, state of being where I can't trust everybody else to think about my feelings or to think about me or to consider me. So I must consider me to the extreme to make sure that I am okay, to make sure that I am stable, because I can't count on other people to be that for me. I can totally understand that creating a major obstacle in her relationship and being what it is that she's trying to be to them and what it is that she has, essentially committed to being to them, which is their guardian. And I believe that because she is so wrapped up in that, that it scares her to death to be in a situation where she has to cut that off. She has to break that habit. She has to come out of survival mode in that way in order to get the great outcome that she claims that she wants, in order to get the growth or, the relationship that she wants, the change that she wants. And like the doctor ends up saying to her, in order for her to get the change that she wants, she has to be the change that she wants to see. And I can totally understand her being very, you know, triggered, like extremely, 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 extremely triggered in that position. So like, I give Marlo hell because Marlo is hell a lot of the time. But I'm not petty in that way. I can still, give compassion where compassion is needed and acknowledge all of the truths that are present. And the truth of the matter is, it's totally understandable that Marlo feels how she feels in her situation. And it is even somewhat understandable and makes sense that she would act and react in the ways that she has, because where she comes from is unstable. So honestly, it is only so much stability that you can expect from her, especially being the fact that she hasn't, to my knowledge, or it seems as though this was her first time being in a therapy session, especially being the fact, that she acknowledged, like, wow, I'm here, and it's a big couch here. I sit on it, I lay on it, and he's like, get comfortable. Things like that stand out to me. And it just brings to my attention also that it's a whole lot of things being mirrored to her in this experience of being a guardian to her nephews that probably she's been running away from. And it seems to be things that, you know what I'm saying, deal with, as well as the compassion and, like I said, as I elaborated on the selfishness part. But I think it's also a thing about comfort, a thing about stability, in general. Um, I can even believe that a stint of jealousy comes up with her nephews sometimes when they are at the house with her, which I feel like also plays a part in her sending them over to her sister. And I've heard certain pet owners say this, like as a joke, but they also dead serious, like how they be jealous of they pet when they getting up to go to work in the morning. They see they pet laying somewhere knocked out, sleep, snoring good, like they work 4 jobs, and they like, man, I'm just so jealous, man. I'm jealous, man. They over there sleep. I gotta go to work, man. I wish I could be over there sleep like that. You know what I'm saying? And because like that's a light example of me feeling like and kind of observing in certain characteristics that I see up here with Marlo, whereas she could witness her nephews living in, a lap of luxury type shit, and she didn't have anything close to that when she was growing up. So she may not intend for it to come out as jealousy, but it's just a matter of a cognitive dissonance. Like, damn, I don't know this to be okay for children. I don't know this to be like, oh my gosh, they're at peace. Is this normal? Children are supposed to feel peace. Like, especially in black households, especially dealing with black households run by people from certain time periods of the past. They really feel like if you are not working yourself to death, even as a child, if you are not up working yourself to the bone, you ain't doing nothing with your life. You lazy. You know what I'm saying? If you are indulging or engaging in anything that is bringing you happiness and joy, then you just think life is a game. Like you need your ass whooped because you just think life is sweet over there laughing and shit. And I think it's certain things of that nature that come up when fun and enjoyment is vibrating in a circumstance. And what I mean by that in simplistic terms is, like she mentioned that, it's a must that they have, I think she said movie night or something of the sort. It's something, some type of leisure activity that they do at least once a week. And I feel like that is great, and that is like a great idea because you do need to know, you know what I'm saying, what fun is. You need to know how to enjoy yourself. I bring that up to say also that I feel like she probably beats herself up when she allows them to enjoy things because of the whole rhetoric and what a lot of black people call culture, which is really not culture. It's really just brainwashed survival mode things that have ran their course significantly. And, to wrap it all up, she guilts herself for having a great life. And honestly, that would make sense in why she directs so much horrible energy towards other people who have what look like great lives, like Kenzie and Kenya. Even though Kenya has her own, her obvious imperfections that go on with her, to Marlo, Kenya may look like she's handling her obstacles better than Marlo is. And especially being that they have similar backgrounds. Like I said, I think it's something in Marlo that's like, how dare you juggle your shit better than me, and we come from the same place type shit. And I'm not judging her because, like I said, how Marlo is, it all makes sense and all that shit. It's just not excusable, and I just really want her to really commit to this process that she has started. Because, like I said, the doctor gave her some really great advice on like I said, being the change that she wants to see, leading by example, and not doing so much talking at the boys. Give them specific tasks. Don't just say clean up the house. Say, I want you to come in here at 3 o'clock and wash these dishes, and by 4 o'clock all of them should be put up in every cabinet, in their designated places in the kitchen, and things of that nature. Give them specific tasks to be done at specific times, and like I said, don't spend a whole lot of time just talking at them. Lead by example. Child, it's gonna be interesting to see. And like I said before, she did ask him, could she bring her nephews to him and they come to him as a family and receive treatment, and his I want to say his laying on of hands. He ain't laying no hands, but it was something to me about his energy that was very calming and soothing. So, But yeah. Before I close it out on this scene, I people note where I wrote restoring order. Because specifically a topic that, well, specifically what the doctor says is what you're trying to do is restore order. And that stood out to me because I feel like Marlo doesn't have a genuine understanding of what that is outside of herself. Like, she can control where she goes. She can control who she mingles with, outside of the show, that is. She can control where all of her clothes go in her closet. She can control what men she lets in and out of her house, She can control who she texts in the morning, things of that nature. She's pretty much been a free agent, and that can come from coming from such a chaotic background where you don't really want to deal with people. You kind of isolate yourself so that you can always be in control of your own emotions, basically not have anything to challenge you. You lessen your chances of being challenged, of being disappointed, of being discomforted, things of that nature. And it's one thing to start socializing more in order to, strengthen your emotional stability, I guess, and strengthen your mental stability and your social stability. And it's a whole another thing to allow other human beings to move in with you, let alone ones who you are responsible for their lives and their futures and their well-beings and shit. And they are their own individuals. Like, you have to teach them self-control and self-love and self-care. And Marlo may have that, but it's been limited because she hasn't put herself in positions to be challenged on a personal, spiritual, mental, and emotional level. Ooh. So now she done put herself in this major challenge of being two little people's parents, let alone two little people who are opposite sex from her. That's a doozy. And that's why Marlo definitely needs to commit to the therapy. Anybody who is a parent, honestly, I feel like should receive some level of free therapy in some type of way, especially when that shit, especially if and when that shit just gets dropped on you out of nowhere. In a case such as Marlo's, and yes, it was a choice, but it still came out of nowhere. And also the guilt of saying no, like, like, come on. But yeah, I think it's just gonna be a lot of trial and error. And if Marlo can like I said, commit to the therapy and especially use it to help her communicate and express and process her emotions better, I think that would help an extensive amount, even if and when she does make mistakes, because then she can at least communicate to her nephews to, you know, acknowledge their feelings, extend compassion, and also help them understand her better, and also be able to extend compassion to her in healthy ways, not make them responsible for her emotions, but teach them compassion through being a compassionate person. But she first has to get more compassionate with herself. And I spent too much time on, maybe I didn't spend too much time. It's divinely times, okay? But it is definitely a divine time to move on to the next scene. So real quick, we get with Candy and the girls and Todd. So we got Candy, Kayla, and Riley, and they are discussing like afterlife, will, life insurance type things, and they basically get into a conversation of how and who they think would be the more loose hand with the money if something were to happen to either Kenzie or Todd. And of course, everybody agrees that Todd would be much more of a tightwad because he already is. And you know, he feels like absolutely everything should be worked for. And I do understand his concept, but at the same time, there is a time and a place for everything, and there is a certain thing called balance, which means just as well as you need to understand the concept of working for things and being rewarded, you also need to understand the concept of simply being gifted and blessed just because it's Tuesday. Okay? All of these tie in to the enjoyment and stability of life. Okay. But yeah, and so I would say that there is a balance with Kenzie and Todd being present together. And honestly, I could see a tide turning, you know, if and when something was to happen to one of them, and you know what to do with the belongings and how to divvy it up, because I feel like with them having a real love thing, you know, if it's really real, if something is, you know, if something was to happen, the remaining partner, I would feel like, would honor their, you know, lost significant other's wishes and honor their morals and values, and, you know, do what they wish with all of the assets and things. Make sure. And Todd says that he, basically his plan would be to not give them everything at once, to have like, to me what comes to mind is like an installment plan type thing where they get so much money every couple of years or ever so many years or whatever. And I can understand and appreciate that concept. I don't think that's a bad thing, but at the same time, like, it teaches them to budget, but at the same time, life happens. And why should they have to struggle if they really don't have to, if life is just to happen, you know? Some things you just really can't plan and don't know till you know. So yeah. And I also feel like if you trust your abilities and you trust what you have put into your kids, and also what you have poured into your significant other while being present on this earth, then you should be able to trust that they will be able to handle and respect accordingly what you leave for them behind. And Todd is offended when the ladies state their observation, which is, of course, also our observation because we know about Todd, like I said. And pretty much what he just said, he want to have a installment plan, which, like I said, is not totally a bad idea. It just lands to an interesting mindset that Todd has. The reason why I say that is interesting because I feel like there is something in the nicks and crannies of his spirit that could stand to be unpacked so that that particular quality about him could just be balanced more instead of being something that he feels like has to be in play in order to maintain order. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a form of discipline and he should instill discipline. It's just something there seems to be coming from a place of fear as opposed to a place of faith. And I feel like that's what they were trying to convey to him, but he got in his feelings real quick, like, as it concerns, at least, how they showed it with the editing and everything. And he was just like, what I'm saying, I feel like y'all don't trust me. I feel like you saying that you don't trust me to handle business how business would need to be handled if Candy were not here. Like, you don't trust me to show my care and concern monetarily and materialistically if Candy were not here. And in another scene, I'm gonna tie these two together. In another scene, him and Candy have the conversation and he more thoroughly expresses this to her. And she better explains to him what it is that they meant on their end. And he, they pretty much come to the agreement and he says pretty much what I said, that out of love and respect for their relationship, their union, out of love and respect for Candy and all of that, he would honor whatever she puts into play to leave behind for them, distribute it according to how she wants and all of that. Just draw it up in the paperwork and give it to him and he'll get it done. So then they get into the conversation again about the play, Thoughts of a Colored Man, and how Candy feels about that. And again, she gets emotional, and she also talks about how she is rather eager to, pick up another play, pick up another project, something in the theater, whatever, what have you, in order to get back in the swing of things and just get that vibe back, get that momentum back up. But she's also afraid to do it because she doesn't want it to immediately get snatched down and just be another crumbled investment. And I really love what Todd said to her when he was like, in so many words, keep going. If you feel like you want to pick something else up, pick it up. If it falls apart, okay, that's fine. Cry about it, whatever you need to do, and then pick up the next thing. Just don't let it stop you. Don't let it knock you off of your journey, because then that will also allow you to not only prove to, and I'm kind of adding my own thing into this, tied in with what he said, but not only proving and showing to other people, in and out of the theater and Broadway industry that you are really serious and passionate about this, but also you end up proving that to yourself as well, proving to yourself that you can be consistent in this particular area of your life because you want to be consistent in this particular area of your life because you feel like there is a purpose there that is greater than yourself, and you also get a sense of fulfillment for it while fulfilling so many other things in the grand scheme of it all. And that was pretty much the tie up of that scene, child. We get a quick little scene of Sheree and some fabric. Baby, I need a fashion show. I need a line out my face. So we pick up at Sanya's shindig at the last minute. She has prepared some decorations and got a cake and everything for Sheree's birthday to also, you know, get a little celebratory vibe going in the process of her gearing them up for her trip to Jamaica. I also wanted to quick note that in this particular scene, Marlo has on like a more upgraded type, more expensive looking, better looking version of Sheree's Elvira confessional. I thought it was cute, and I also thought it was interesting that it's like more a more better version of what Sheree had on in her confessional. Anywho, so as we get the festivities and everything going, everybody is shading the shit out of Sonya because of her child less than Dollar Tree looking decorations, and apparently shout out to Patrice Woodbine, but the chicken was dry. Too damn dry. That's what they said. And Kenya does a little constructive shading of her house, and Sanya takes it, you know, allows her in to do so, as she says she is willing to take tips from Kenya since she is both interested and experienced in the decorating and homemaking and home building, home improvement, all that good stuff. And basically Kenya is telling her, baby, you need to change this, you need to change that, you should move this, you should move that, you should knock this down, build this here, throw the whole house away. She thought she had a nice house. I told her go harder. Come on, Keontae. But honey, I'm about to get on you, because Sanya addresses Kenya about the whole clique situation, and Kenya gets to talking about, you know, I just felt like you was coming out very condescending, and it's just quite a few things that I'm not going to let slide anymore, because Mark used to do this, that, and the third, all types of abusive and gaslighting behavior, and I'm just not going to accept that anymore, and all this, that, and the third. And that is real great. Totally understandable. Totally understood. And I definitely respect Kenya for going about her life in such a way and having such a, what is that? Standard in her life, right? But this leads us to another conversation about balance. Because while that is a great rule to live by, you know what I'm saying? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Yes. But don't become what you once despised. Don't get so wrapped up in your own protection and all this other stuff and what you think things mean that you end up becoming what you once despised. Because what's happening here is you was just trying to check Marlo about some things, right? About playing victim when she needs to take accountability. And that's exactly what you're doing here, Kenya. That's exactly what you're doing here. Because it is not Sanya's fault or anybody else's fault that Mark is abusive. So it's not fair for one, you to, you know, be flawed in your own ways and expect understanding and all this other stuff, and then you hung up in Sanya's face because you got insecure in your feelings about not having a man. Whereas you were so very quick to hang up in Sanya's face because of what you felt like she was trying to say, or what you thought she was trying to say. But Marlo has said way out of line shit to you, even concerning you and your man issues and all of that. And your defense mechanism to that was to play coy and play childlike and, all this other stuff. And you still went on a trip, killing with kindness type shit. And I know you wanted to get your check, but also, if it was that easy for you to hang up in Sanya's face just because of what you thought or felt like she was fixing to say, then how easy could it have been for you to immediately cut off engagement with Marlo in different instances? Not just at Blue Ridge, but in different instances. There are plenty of instances where you could have immediately, drawn a wedge with Marlo. There's plenty of times where she said way out of line shit to you, where that could have been a deal breaker, a moment for you to draw a line in the sand, but we hanging up on Sanya because of what you thought she was fixing to say. But Sanya is the easier target, right? Because you don't want to give Marlo the satisfaction nor the leg up, right? Because whether you win or lose, Marlo is also going to win or lose at the same time. And either way, she still probably would come out winning if you actually engaged for real with her, right? Text. And so instead of directly addressing the issues that you have with Marlo, which, don't get me wrong, you said what you had to say with Marlo and you did it and this and that, but you still have an issue. Not only do you still have an issue, but you still have an issue with the fact that Sanya was sticking up for Marlo. And don't get me wrong, I feel like Sanya needed to shut the fuck up as well. But you should have just told Sanya to shut the fuck up. You should have just voiced whatever it was that you had to say to Sanya in that moment, instead of trying to carry it out and nitpick and get in your feelings about stuff that you are just naturally in your feelings about. And that leads me to where, she says this and that about Mark did this and that, and Sanya lets her know that she was not trying to come off in such a way. She was actually trying to let her know that she did not have to bring somebody that she intended to be a significant other, nobody that she was dating or anything. She could bring a friend, a cousin, a coworker, or whatever. But you hung up in her face before she could tell you that. And Kenya just, continues to basically double down on, well, nobody's going to make me feel this and that. And you're absolutely correct. Nobody made you feel anything. You feel insecure about your man issues, and that's what it is. Saying it did not inflict that on you. You do that to yourself, and you are harboring feelings about other people who have said that to you, like Marlo. And you are misdirecting that energy and have misdirected that energy at Sanya because she mentioned couples trip. That's what it was. Like, stop it. But Sanya apologizes and they move forward. And we gonna sing happy birthday to Sheree. And she cute and she grateful and shit. And she shaded the shiggity out of Sanya about her decorations right after I said she grateful. But she shaded the shiggity out of Sanya about her decorations, said the chicken was dry, the food was nasty. I ain't hear nobody complain about that cake though. The cake didn't look all that fancy, but I still didn't hear nobody complain about the cake because saying you got them all. I'm gonna speak on this part and then I'm gonna go back because this was actually the ending, but I'm gonna go back. Anywho, saying cuss the cake. They all grew up on the cake, and like I said, it was quiet. They looked very content with that cake. So you know what I'm saying. I love me some cake. I love me some cake, but that's a video for another day. Anywho, Sanya runs down the rules to them while they are eating cake. I am not going to lie. I do not remember all of the rules because I don't really like rules. Anywho, but I know she told them water swim friendly type hair. She talking about no drama. Girl, do you know where you are? You in the jungle, baby. You gotta wake up and smell the peach juice. No ma'am, no ham. No turkey, no jam. What else she say, child? She let them know that it's going to be a business trip, but they're gonna have quite a few excursions. Have a good time. You can bring any plus one, all that good stuff. Okay, yes, saying her jewels. Anywho, now we're gonna rewind back to when Drew decides to pick a fight. Before I say that, let up off saying your child. The little birthday thing wasn't planned. She just snatched it up at the last minute. And I know y'all saying, like, if she got the money, she should be able to just, you know what I'm saying, throw it together for the camera. But also, Sanya's kissing up to Marlo, but Sheree is not really her friend like that. And you know what I'm saying? If she didn't have that plans in her budget at the time, that's her business. Anywho, Drew gets the shade and Sheree about Fatum because Fatum don't like her and Fatum be trying to fight her. And I just feel like leave Sheree alone. She don't really have nothing to do with that. I know that's her friend and she brought her on the show. But Drew, you just want a moment apparently. Because you got Fatum put off the show. And so you can't fight with her no more. And so you gonna fight with Sheree. Cool. Okay. That's what we're doing this season. I mean, I know that's what reality show shit is. Pick somebody to fight with, get a moment type shit. But also, nobody's being original, is what I'm saying. Nobody is using original tactics. Anywho, Sheree started screaming, tomatoes, 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 you whack. No attention at home. Oh, baby. Sheree got to giving Drew the business in the most simplistic of ways. She like, girl, leave me alone. Why you want me? Why you want to fight with me? Why you want attention from me? Is it because you don't get none at home? Tisk. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. You whack. I ain't gonna lie. Some folks felt like Sheree was lame for that, but I'm not mad at it. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. You whack. She said, who am I talking to, honey? Who am I talking to? Is this Danielle, Tracy, Sanya, Marissa? Who is it? Which one of the identities or am I getting? And Sheree, I just want to know, are you talking about the identities that Fatum was talking about? Or are you talking about the identities that she accumulated through not detoxing from characters? The identities that she just naturally has? Or are you talking about the identities that she got from cosplaying through life? Which ones are we referring to? Child, Drew. Who is she talking to? I'm sorry, Drew. You probably actually got kind of a point with this one. I kind of feel like you got a little bit of a point with this one, just a little teeny bit, but you just can't hold Sheree responsible for someone else's actions. Also, you got nerve for picking a fight with this lady on her birthday. So we'll shade you if we want to. Drew tries to shade Sheree about her age. And everybody, including Sheree, agrees, honey, that you will be lucky if you look anywhere near as good as Sheree as she does when you get to her age. And y'all, for some reason, we get in the confessional with Marlo to find out that she thinks the entire cast is 60. The reason why I say this is because, she's also agreeing that Sheree looks damn good for her age. And she says, yeah, I hope I look that way when I'm 60. Girl, Sheree is not 60. Kenya is not 60. Candy is not 60. Why are all these women 60 to you? What's going on? So Drew has apparently learned when to hold them and when to fold them, when to walk away and when to run. And they basically agree that we see each other, and Drew tucks her tail out of this one and says, you know, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let it go, and we just da 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 da. And then Candy says, Drew, why don't you sing happy birthday for Sheree? And Drew is like, girl, hell no. Whoa. But she goes ahead and she does it anyway, and she sounds absolutely delightful. Very angelic tone, very crisp, like a fresh apple in the springtime. I love it, Drew. You're damn talented, girl. You're damn talented. And y'all, that's pretty much the end. The only rule that I really felt was meaningful off of Stanya's list was, one, the rule about, you know, having the water friendly hair or whatever. Get your braids and everything done. You know what I'm saying? You might want to get wet while you out there. You might want to get wet. And I also feel like the most important rule is the one that Kenya added, which is Stanya. No dry ass food. But speaking of dry, I have milked this cow dry. And I am ever more grateful to be graced with the abundance of your divine timing. And I surely do hope that you have been entertained and enlightened. And I must do request that you do me a divine design and like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.